I'll show you how it's done. Shazam!
Hey, welcome back to our channel here on The Develop, where we cover everything entertainment. We do movies, we do shows, we do anime, we do all types of shit. And today we have a review of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. The hottest show in the market. Tom Cruise is trying to bring Hollywood back, you know what I mean? He had a smash hit with Top Gun Maverick. I like the film, even though the film should just killed him off, but hey, Hollywood, baby. It made a ton of money, and this film is his second, outing in terms of since Top Gun Maverick, since post COVID. This is his second big film, but of course, it's like the seventh in the franchise.
Yeah,
seventh. It's fucking insane.
Yeah,
they may be trying to catch up to Fast and Furious at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they have
this franchise has been going on for like.
It's the 90s.
Of course, this is the sequel. This is a two-parter.
This film
is long enough to be a two-parter.
Yeah, this movie is long enough to be one movie.
Yeah, damn near fucking 3 hours. I mean,
this is the third. This is the third worst half of a movie we are seeing in this year.
Yeah,
between Fast and Spider-Verse, we're getting a
whole
lot of half movies.
A lot of part ones. Like the fuck,
yeah,
man.
At least Dune's giving us a part 2 this year. Jesus.
Yeah, right. Come on, catch up to Dune, please. Oh, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 was directed by Christopher McQuarrie. He is a frequent collaborator with Tom Cruise, and early in his career with Bryan Singer, as he wrote The Usual Suspects. He wrote and produced Valkyrie, which are 2 films that Bryan Singer directed. He also wrote and directed Jack Reacher. And, of course, the last 3 Mission Impossibles. Present company included. He did Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, Mission Impossible Fallout, and Dead Reckoning Part 1, and, of course, Part 2. So, yeah. And he also wrote The Mummy. So, yeah, he's a frequent collaborator with Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Wrote The Mummy. He wrote Top Gun Maverick. He wrote Edge of Tomorrow. A lot of Tom Cruise movies. Okay, so what this movie's about, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is the story of an AI gone rogue. It's become sentient. It has its own agenda. As far as you understand, it is very much wants to cause harm to people. The movie opens with it murdering a whole bunch of people on a submarine. And throughout the course of this movie, there's actually a big mystery involved. There's something that was inside of that submarine being 2 key parts that come together to form one super key. And this movie is just a big cat and mouse chase. People trying to get it from each other, trying to steal it, trying to plan, build other people's pockets. It's a whole big cat and mouse chase that takes them from country to country. A lot of people get hurt. A lot of action scenes take place, and it all culminates to one confrontation with the bad guy, which leads to this 40-minute sequence on a train where people are trying to sneak it, shoot each other at deals, trying to come in, just get it and get it out, which Tom Cruise also has to deal with the actual United States military for once, because he's on the wrong side of their jurisdiction yet again, because he wants to keep the key out of everyone's hands because he understands, hey, this is dangerous. No one should have access to this. Well, all the countries be like, no, I want access to this. I should be the guy. So that is very much our conflict, our setup, and the whole movie just culminates with the thief lady he meets becoming a member of the IMF. And that is basically all that happens in this 2 hours and 45-minute movie.
Played by Hayley Atwell. She's the thief.
Yes, she is.
My thoughts on this movie, simple and plain. It was cool. Simple and plain. It's cool. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not great. I hear the reviews are pretty stellar. I don't get it. It's not that good. I definitely thought other Mission Impossibles were better.
Yeah.
Honestly, this one with the plot and everything, it really is kind of out there. You know what I mean? It's starting to feel like more into the sci-fi, you know what I mean, like non-fiction. Is really getting to that level. It's not saying that this franchise is necessarily grounded, but it is somewhat believable. Now it's getting into the science fiction.
Yeah.
Over the top.
I mean,
what's next? Aliens? You know what I mean?
I understand Mission Impossible always had some kind of goofier elements to it, especially with the whole, you can have a mask that's another person's face kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of ridiculous science.
It's insane science.
Even down to the more outlandish nature of some of the Mission Impossible gadgets, I agree with you. This does seem like a whole nother tier above that in terms of the silliness kind of scale. The more grand and unrealistic. I understand we live in a time where AI concerns are very rampant.
Yes.
People are very much concerned about that. So making a movie that includes that.
We're not making any Skynet anytime soon, buddy.
No. We're not even close to that. But even if so I understand the appeal to make a movie like that now, since everyone's talking about AI, though that's usually more about art and writing and stuff. That's beside the point.
Yeah, Chat GPT and whatnot.
Yeah, this is not an interesting fit for a spy thriller because all it is, like, it's basically a movie about a MacGuffin. It's all about people chasing these keys, and that's all it's about.
A lot of these kind of films are like that.
I understand that, but all these other films aren't 2.5 hours long and also part one of a story.
Yeah, that's kind of out there.
That's where the problem
I expect it to be maybe a little over. This film could have been easily. This film could have easily just been at least like a little above 2 hours.
Yeah.
Instead of almost 3 hours. This is as long as Dark Knight Rises.
This could have been. This could have been 2 hour movie, maybe 2:10 at most.
Yeah, at most.
Hard to agree. Like, we have these really fast sequences that feel very rushed together, but the whole story itself is kind of padded out because you have so many of these like fast sequences to get one on top of another, where like it really feels like you could have cut a whole lot of that out and we wouldn't really be missing much of this movie. I don't think Rebecca Ferguson's character even really needed to be in this movie.
One thing I did like about this movie was the whole cat and mouse sequence of it all, like the airport sequence. They just like when they have the key and they're just, you know what I'm saying, just like planting the key on different people, you know, and while also trying to outrun the military. You know, it was pretty fun, and then playing with technology and do swap faces with different people, like just changing faces and whatever else. Kind of like how the deep fakes, you know.
Yeah, it's very
Tom
similar.
Cruise is like one of the more famous deep fakes on the internet. So I'm pretty sure that's like a little nod off to that.
Maybe,
quite possibly.
I think it is.
Him and Hayley Atwell were very enjoyable. Like, and then also in Venice, you know, their whole car chase sequence was pretty awesome.
Kind of reminiscent of Fast X's chase sequence
really
in Rome.
Really did.
Which is weird because there are a lot of shots in this movie that very clearly are in Rome, but they're passing off as Venice, which kind of annoyed me. I'm like, bitch, the Colosseum is right there. There's no Colosseum in Venice.
You know, other than that, like the villain in Esai Morales, him being a fucking a messiah. And he has a sworn allegiance to the entity, which what they call it. I think it's just very cartoonish and
he's very out there and kind of an interesting villain.
Yeah.
I like his performance overall, but that's about it.
The whole concept is kind of like, really, you know what I mean? That's where we're going with this.
And speaking of villains, I feel like Pom Klementieff was really underused in this movie.
Yeah, because I liked her, but also at the same time, barely a character.
I think another highlight of the movie is the whole train sequence. It does go on a bit long, but it's very fun at first. Of like with Hayley Atwell trying to pretend to be Vanessa Kirby's character, and her just being kind of awkward the role. That was funny at points. It did go on a bit long as the whole train sequence itself. That is a very long sequence.
It was.
Especially with Tom Cruise repeatedly. Like, we keep cutting back to Tom Cruise like 3 or 4 times, just climbing up this giant fucking mountain before he eventually just parachutes onto the train as it moves. Which leads to a very funny encounter where he just smacks right into the guy who he's about to kill, Hayley Atwell. So that's kind of funny. But that being said, it does go. The train sequence, as good as it is just a little too long for what it is.
Yeah,
it's just this very. It is a very bloated sequence. It doesn't need to be so long. It'd probably be even better if it was shorter. To be honest, because this whole movie, it would just been better if it was just cut down some more. Just cut it down, shorten it. It doesn't need to be this long. It's ridiculous it's this long because there's not enough substance for it.
It's so long, it makes it really boring as a viewing. It's a viewing experience. It's like, really, dude.
Yeah.
This feels very drawn out.
It feels very tiring, especially since we know we're not going to get any resolution to the story. So it just feels very exhausting to go through. I'm like
this is a fast-paced movie, so it should be like a more like shorter runtime.
Exactly. When you have a movie that has a fast pace, having short runtime is key because when you have a movie like this where it has a very fast pace, but it's also a very long movie, it can tire a lot of audiences out. Yeah. It can make you lose interest a bit. It gets you out of the moment.
Definitely.
Especially in terms of these very long fight sequences, which some of them are kind of long.
Very long.
But I don't think we've seen enough of the entity actually do its thing, to actually be at work. We do see glimpses of it doing stuff, but I feel like it's all mostly minimal interactions.
honestly, you could just make the entity the villain, and just get rid of Esai Morales. You know what I mean? Because I thought the entity alone was interesting enough because of the power of the wheels.
You really didn't need a big bad guy. If anything, that actually would make this more interesting because all the other Mission Impossible movies, they all have big bad guys.
Exactly. So
but this would make this more different.
Exactly. It would have done a good job distincting itself.
Yeah. Because when you have this...
From the other movies.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you have this giant... Because clearly this is supposed to be an important step in the Mission Impossible saga because they're planning to split into 2 movies. No other movie got that treatment. So clearly this is supposed to be a very important movie in the franchise. It's supposed to be very big. So you should that's the time you really should just do something different. Do something unexpected. So my score for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning is going to be a 72. I feel like there's a very good score for this movie, mostly because while itself is a good experience, it has the same old characters we all know and love from the last Mission Impossible movies. It has fun sequences, some general good moments are worth seeing on a big screen. Most of the movie itself just kind of pales in comparison to the last 3 Mission Impossibles, in my opinion. I like 4, 5, and 6 way better than this personally because they're just more self-contained. They were less bloated. It didn't feel like they were stretching for time. While this movie really does. It feels like it really wants to be a much bigger movie than it is in terms of it, especially in terms of its length.
Yeah, my score would be not really too different from what Nick said. I'll get about a 74. Like, you know what I mean? This is a Mission Impossible movie, so you're going to get all the Mission Impossible stuff. The crew comes back, you know what I mean? They are trying new things. There are some fun sequences, but, it's not as good as the others because, as I said, it's very bloated, and it kind of kills the pacing. Like, the whole pacing of this movie is just, it's just really wonky, and it can make you could be easily bored. Like, there's a lot of moments in that theater I was kind of getting bored because the pacing was just so fucking like molasses. But sometimes they rush into things, explaining a lot. It's just like it's poorly put together.
It was. I completely agree with that sentiment. It was just poorly put together. Exposition was too exposition-y. It was just a lot.
Certain characters didn't need to be there.
No.
Every bloated cast.
Yeah. It really didn't need to be this big.
Yeah, it really didn't.
Yeah.
Could have been a lot more self-contained. It would have been great.
Fully agree on that.
Yeah, they're trying to go too big.
Yeah.
And they make it too big for their bridges.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel about this movie.
Same here. But anyways, let us know what you think about the Mission Impossible movies down below. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to comment is write in the comments your order of all the Mission Impossible movies from best to worst. And please make sure you hit that like, subscribe button. Stay in tune for all of our new videos, especially hit that bell icon so you're really up to date with everything. And by all means, thanks for watching.
Later, Gators.
This video will self-destruct in 5 seconds.